Jerry Landwer, who was our director of horticulture. It was his idea to bring a light show to the Green Bay Botanical Garden. There really wasn't much going on in December. We wanted to bring people to the garden in the winter time and get people out of their houses and get exposed because we were so new at that time. So that first year we started with less than 100,000 lights. It was a learning experience. We had every single extension cord color you could think of out down on market. We bought everything up at Fleet Farms and well, there was no Home Depot back then. We're at Menards, and we just kind of basically by the seat of our butt.
You said what year did you start?
1997. This is our 16th year.
Thank you.
Doing the Garden of Lights. So anyway, and then in 2002 Jerry left, and then I got the short straw, and I got to do the light show after that. So it's been 10 years, 10, 11, no, 12 years now, maybe 16 years. 12 years I've been at it, designing stuff, putting light shows together. Most of our displays, as you can tell, are botanical themed. That was the idea back then, to keep it botanical themed. We didn't want to bring in Santa Clauses and Frosty Snowmans and all that stuff. You can see that anywhere. So we wanted to keep the botanical theme. And that's probably the hardest part of the whole Garden of Lights, is keeping it botanical and keeping it in that relationship with that. So a lot of what we started out was frames. We just had a local welder. He welded up frames like this with a 1/4-inch rod. And you can see that's how he created a dragonfly, is what this is. And he would weld them up. We would bring it back here. We would paint everything, spray paint them, and then we would put lights on. And all done by volunteers. This was done by volunteers too. So we started out in 97. This is one of them from 97. It just didn't get painted and lights put on it. Our first years, all we had was incandescent lights. No, there was no such thing as LED lights. I think you all know what LED lights are. The ones right here. That was our first set of lights. That's all there was. So everything was done in those, and we had a lot of problems with those. As you guys know, those old incandescent lights, they blew out, they burnt out, they break, you name it. So the first 6 years was difficult to keep lights going, mainly because it would just break. And we would replace. We'd spend an hour every night before the light show, replacing light bulbs, going over frames that were cut or bent or whatever it may be. Then in 2006 is when we really first got into the LED part of it, and I had 2 sets of LED lights. They were donated from WPS, and it was like, wow, you could throw them up in the air, you can let them drop, and they don't break. You know, it was amazing, and they don't create any heat, or they're so much energy efficient. So 2006 we just started with 2 sets, which was 50 lights, and now we're up to about 200,000 LEDs. 200, 210, somewhere around that. For this year. Added another 17,000 just this year. So I will talk a little bit about this particular caterpillar. This is the 3rd time it's been done with lights. This was a caterpillar display we did in 2003. We have 5 of them similar to this. Like I said, we did them incandescent lights, and then they would fade and they'd break. We put the old lights back on, and they last maybe 2 or 3 years. Put the old lights back on, and then last year we finally did this one in LED lights. And this one has about 400 lights on it. And it takes about 8 hours to do this for volunteers. Again, volunteers. I don't have many of them volunteers, so if somebody wants to learn how to put lights on frames, that's what we do in January and February.
So you take each one apart every year?
No, this way you see it is the way it's going to look, and that's not, this gets set up into the woods, and then we'll take it down. So we don't take the lights off of this, it stays on the frames. Now some lights, like, and I'll show you our tree frames, those come down. Okay. So a lot of our frames are like this. They're the 1/4-inch steel, and we actually zip tie, these little zip ties. This is our bread and butter right here, so what we use. I mean, literally I use 20,000 of these in a year's time, little 4-inch zip ties. I buy them in bulk, 10,000 at a time. And these are bigger 8-inch, we use a lot of them too. 6,000 I think I used this year. We're using a lot. In the first 3 years when we had a lot of lights, I'm going to show you something interesting. One of the big problems not only is that lights just break away, we have critters. Being in a wooded area, these rabbits and squirrels tend to chew on things. should pass that around. I actually got the year on it, 2007. This is what rabbits and squirrels will do. Some cords. They're my, as you can tell, I don't like anything with 4 lanes. Because this will just, this is a whole display will be gone. And they'll do that during the daytime, not when the power's on. Of course, otherwise, that's what they'll do to a 16 gauge wire. Here's your household cord, your electrical cord is a 14 gauge. They actually chewed on this a little bit, but not enough to turn it up. But what happened was rain. Rain and electricity was not mixed. So what happened, this was a misty day, kind of like we had last Thursday. Remember how misty it was? Well, this sat here and smoked for a while. All of a sudden, the whole display went out. So I turned the breaker back and poof, there was a big flame of fire. You see what happened? There's that display was shot. So I had to quickly do that. It usually happens about 5 minutes before we open up for light. But that's those are some of the things that I had to deal with here at the Garden of Lights every single year. Sometimes they're not as dramatic as you see here, but usually our little household cords. I also live and breathe by just your typical household cords. You can get them anywhere at Fleet Farm, Menards, anywhere. They're just your little household cords. I love these things. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. We use them everywhere. And you'll see when we walk around. They're great because they got like a little 3-way on the end. I'm sure you've all seen these before. They work great outside. They're weatherproof. The only bad thing is rabbits love to chew these suckers. And it doesn't take much to get through them. These are, like I said, use these more than just about anything else. Any questions about anything? You can talk, you can ask me anything anytime.
Did you ever find any electrocuted animals?
No, I wish.
Yeah. Our estimated total power consumption.
As far as our,
When everything's lit.
well,
Watts.
that I don't know right now because I've changed over to LEDs, so I haven't checked it for a couple of years, but it's not very much. When we were using incandescent lights, we were running quite a bit, and we actually blew our main transformer out 6 years ago. And melted our transformer. We have a 250. 280. Yeah. That was before we got into LED lights. Since we got into LED lights, I don't have to worry about lights. Example, the Caterpillar out here, that has 20,000 lights on it. One extension cord. Only one extension cord. And actually, it's also running our arch over here too. The butterflies. So I really don't know how much I can put on that. When the breaker blows in, you know you did too much. So I'm not an electrician, just so you know. I just kind of wing it, go with it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I don't know, what do you want to walk around a little bit? Actually, I want to show you the frame trees, so we're nice and warm still. We can go in the other room and look at those while we go outside. And I think after that, we'll go down and we'll take a little closer look at the Caterpillar, and we'll go some of the other new displays.